Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anyhow, Anyway by Summer England. I'm your podcast host, Summer England. You might know me from Instagram or TikTok, where I talk about all things bookish, cozy, smutty, hobbity, chaotic, and the like. Or you might not know me at all. And if not, hello, it's nice to meet you. First and foremost, for our longtime listeners, meaning those who tuned in for the first episode a whole 2 weeks ago, you might notice a different release schedule. That's right, we're releasing on Thursdays at 5 a.m. East Coast time. Why, you may ask? Well, I did my research, okay? And my research told me, my 25 minutes of research told me that listeners benefit the most from a podcast that releases in the middle of the week because some people have a commute. And some people on their commute, instead of listening to music blaring at you at 7:30 a.m. in the morning, might want some gangly human sequestered on the East Coast who's talking about nothing at an extremely fast clip in your ears. So if that's you, hello, hi, you're welcome. I am doing this for you. I jest. You all, it's time to lock in, okay? Let's lock in for this podcast because let me just tell you where I'm filming this at in this state of mind. This is my fourth time sitting down to record this episode, and that is because the first time I sat down to do it, I was so hyped up on my 3 p.m. ill-advised timed coffee because I go to bed at like 9 p.m. that I could not string together my sentences, literally at all. I was talking so fast I was giving myself a panic attack. Usually I talk so quickly, people around me are like, are you on the verge of like crashing out right now? No. I was speaking so fast, I was crashing out. Why did I have a 3 p.m. coffee? 1, free will. 2, I had just spent 7 hours of my day editing my cozy fantasy novel. 7, I've not had a single human interaction today. I've not left my house. I've barely left my office. I have tread a pathway in my 1940s farmhouse between my office and the kitchen and back again and into the bathroom where I go tinkle because I'm hydrated. That's what I've done. And it's exacerbated even worse because usually I would give myself a break from being in my house by going on a walk. But babies, I got a walking pad. That's right. I went on the TikTok shop and I bought myself a walking pad. I hit 20,000 steps before we hit noon. All right? I was eating my bowl of soup at noon, 20,000 steps in already. Because no break for the weary. I have an editing deadline and I have to do this. And I have ADHD and I can't sit still all the time or my brain dies. I'm like a banana. If you leave me to my own energies and I can't expend them, I'm rotting. It's like an avocado where I get ripe right at like 6:17 a.m. and anytime before that, I'm hard as a rock, disgusting sour. Anytime after that, why'd you touch me? I'm mushy. I have filled your house with rot. That's me. That's my energy. And so especially when I edit, there's something about the editing process. I have to be moving. When I am just writing, when I'm just plot developing, it hits different in my psyche. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the psychology is behind it. But editing, it's like I'm trying to balance remembering so many different little bits and bobs and making sure that things are stringed together in such a way that I just have to move. I have to move or my brain is in such a hyper mode. I need to be doing something with my physical body to align with how quickly my brain is running ahead of me. I genuinely have to jog to keep up with where my brain is going and to make sure that I am continuously up at that pace because then I'll start forgetting my good ideas. There's no amount of me journaling down my good ideas because as soon as I have them, if they're not immediately done, they're gone. They're gone. I don't remember why I had that idea. I don't remember the through line. And this is my second round of edits. I think in my first episode, I said something about it being my final round. I meant first. I had received my first round of edits and submitted those. Now I'm in my second round of edits. And just like the first time, I received the edits and I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, totally. Yes, of course. And now we're a few days in and my eyes are red, and I feel my corneas, I feel my cones, I feel my rods. For any of you eye doctors who are tuning in, you know those are in your eye, I think. I'm feeling all of those right now. I have 2 pairs of glasses. I've donned them both. I've switched them out each time because one of them has some nose pads and the other doesn't. And depending on where I'm at in the process, suddenly one just feels better than the other. I don't know how to explain it to you. All right? It's like I have my glass water jar for my colloquial water drinking. Then I have my giant Awala water bottle for I have to hydrate. This isn't just sipping for pleasure. This is I have to make sure that my blood pressure is not dropping because I'm dehydrated. That's where I'm coming to you today, is after all of that. And real quick, is that I think it is very easy to romanticize the life of a writer. I do it. When I'm not actively writing, I'm romanticizing the heck out of it. I'm like, you're telling me? I get out my little purple keyboard that click-clack types, and somebody has bought a little document that I worked on? What? How special? And then I'm in my 0 dark 30 hour. I am double fisting coffee, triple fisting water. I've peed 90 million times. I don't remember what my own voice sounds like because I've got an editing deadline, and I think to myself, I don't know. I think old Mike from Dirty Jobs could probably get in on this writing game. You know what I mean? Mike, why don't you start cracking into the dirt of politics and writing? Hey. That was bad. So that's where I'm coming to you at. But if you're thinking to yourself that you want to invest in a little writing gadget, and you're between a desktop computer or a really nice keyboard or a walking pad, I'd suggest the walking pad. It is a little bit of an investment. They're not super cheap. Some of them are good prices, and especially now that we're not in COVID, because COVID was a huge height of walking pad times because, we weren't leaving our house because of the contagion, because of all of that. They were a lot pricier then, just like TVs were only a few years ago. And now I feel like I can get like a 96-inch screen TV for nothing at all. They actually have to pay me to take the screen out of their hands. It's like reverse Facebook Marketplace. On the editing, okay? For all of you writers out there, for all of you who think it's cozy to listen to writing content, I hate Google Docs. If Google Docs were a person, I would punch him in the face and tell him that he doesn't deserve to eat chocolate or to know that sweet, sweet feeling of sipping on some really spicy Sprite, specifically for McDonald's. That's what I would say. Because the amount of times Google Doc has lagged on me because my document is too extensive. Yeah, no duh. It's a book, Google Docs. It's a whole book. We're not working with some 20-page double-spaced research paper nonsense from freshman year. This is a book. Can you get with the program? I'm so sick of this. I have fought with my Google Docs, and it doesn't matter what you do, okay? I can click refresh. I can work offline. I can accept all the comments, but at the end of the day, it's a long document. And it's struggling. And now I'm struggling because any bit of stimulus that is thrown my way right now is registering as really negative because I'm a little bit overstimulated, okay? On the overstimulation game, I shared a TikTok this week. If you don't follow me, how dare you? I'm kidding. I really am. I shared a TikTok this week that smut saved my motherhood. Smut makes me a better mom. Why, you may ask? Let me tell you a little story about motherhood, writing, being a stay-at-home mom, all of that jazz. When my child is with me, the first thing I hear in the morning when I desperately need peace and quiet is, Mom, 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 Mom. Okay? I should have warned you. I'm going gremlin mode. I'm auditioning to be a new voice actor for the Gremlins. And when I start my day out like that, especially when we're in the middle of summer, a summer night, mid-July, it's so cute when you do it, Lana Del Rey. But when you're an autistic mom, single mom at home with your baby all day long, it's hitting a little bit different. We're in the mid-July terrors. But smut saves me. You want to know why? Is because sometimes I get up at 4:45 in the morning to catch a smidgen of alone time. Coat this body in 15 minutes of alone time while listening to some smut. And you psychology majors out there that did absolutely nothing with your degree, my mirror neurons are firing. That's right. When I'm listening to something, my body's like, am I doing it? And I'm like, yeah, okay, you are doing it. All right, because now we have confirmation bias. We sure are doing it, honey. So I listen to smut at an ungodly hour. These people doing ungodly things to each other, in ungodly positions, making ungodly noises. And that's the first sound I hear in the morning. That's the first place my brain goes to. So when my kid comes downstairs, whom I love, just so we all know, I'm obsessed with my child. He is so cool, okay? But when he comes down the stairs, baby, you can't touch me. You can't touch your mama right now, all right? I'm so zen. You could crash out because your bagel isn't toasted just right, as if I'm some Panera wench. And I'm going to be like, okay, get over it. But I'm not going to want to be like, you want to know what a toasted bagel's good for? A Frisbee outside. Go catch it. I'm not going to do that because I'm zen, because I listened to smut. Now, I get questions all the time about where to start in smut, and I answered this in my first episode, and I'll answer it again. What do you like? What kind of genres do you go to immediately? The best thing about smut is that it is never ending. It is abundant. You can get smut on Kindle Unlimited. You can get smut on Audible. You can get smut on Spotify. There's a special smutty app called Quinn that's going to talk to you, have all these smutty stories. You can do that. This is the best part of life, is finding out what makes your brain happy. Now, I got a question last week about how I deal with being autistic, being a mom, being a writer, right? Because writing, you have to be focused, and it's oftentimes a work from home situation unless you can work at work, which is great. So I had a listener ask, what do you do when you're busy or you're overstimulated with your kiddo? And there's something that we have fallen into specifically this week that I'm just going to tell you about, and it's quite cozy. It might not work for your child. You might not have children, but it's cozy, so I'm going to tell it to you. So my kid, who's also neurodivergent, is obsessed with nooks. He is obsessed with tiny, small spaces and all of his things that he loves being around him. I have learned, because I've not always worked from home, I have usually been a full-time actress plus doing 2 to 3 other jobs. So my kid is used to when I'm home, because it wasn't super often, he was always attached to me. And it was 100% just he and I, because I worked so much that my time at home was really precious. And now we have entered into a new era, so to speak, where I'm home all the time. And I think he still has this feeling of, I need to be around my mom all the time. For my overstimulation, and I mean, parents get overstimulated no matter if you're autistic or not. It's just a different level. It's just a little bit different of a level. And there is fascinating research, and it's honestly kind of funny, that when you are an autistic parent or a neurodivergent parent, overstimulation and kind of crossing that threshold registers the same in your body as if you were in war, which is so, I mean, it's a little sad. It's also really funny that my body, I could be on the beaches of Normandy, or my kid could be clawing at me and saying my name for the 70th time that day, and I'm feeling the same. That's interesting. how I deal with that, I'm actively trying to experiment how to balance this. I work from home, I'm a writer, I'm a content creator, I do all of these other creative projects, and I have to do that while he's here with me. What do? I create a reading nook for him, okay? I put 2 tiny chairs facing each other so they sort of make a tiny reading nook bench by a window. I have a tiny little lamp there, and I have set it up with his favorite pillows and blankets and a timer because he's obsessed with timers. And I set a timer for like 30 minutes, and he reads his books because we get 7 to 14 books in the library every week. We have always done that. It's a numbers thing. Why we do 7 or 14 and none of the other numbers, I don't know. It's just what we fell into, okay? Okay? And he will sit there and he will read, and I will communicate to him, hey, buddy, while you read, I'm going to be doing this thing. If you need me, I will be in the middle of it. So unless something is wrong, maybe hold off on questions, hold off on things you need to tell me until that timer goes off. And when that timer goes off, we can talk about it. Was there a big learning curve for him? 100%. Because as soon as he has a thought, he's like, I need to tell my mom. And I struggle because as soon as I have a thought and I'm in the middle of writing or I'm in the middle of a creative flow, it's really hard for me if it gets diverted. And like, there's always the like, why can't you just wait till he goes to bed? Because I'm tired. I can't be doing that. Also, I have so many different deadlines that I need to be doing it while he's here. So we have to find a rhythm that works for us. And it's going to be different. And it's going to be an experiment. And there's going to be a lot of failures because this has been a really successful week in that arena where we've fallen into a rhythm where I'm able to write in those pockets of time where he's doing his reading nook. Then we have dedicated one-on-one time for like 15 or 20 minutes. It's not a ton and it is structured because I do have to get back to work, and then he can get back to his structured play, and we have this little timer and he has his little nooks and he can be right by me as he needs. And I try to make it clear to him as possible that it's not that I don't want to spend time with him. It's that I have things that I have to do in order to keep our life going. It's not a guilt thing. It's not like I'm holding this over your head thing. It's just the reality of the situation. Like I'm happy for my kid to know that his mom works. This is how we have this house, is that I work. And I understand that it's not always convenient for you, but like it is what is happening. Okay? Okay. So that's a bit on autism and motherhood. I could say more about it if people have more questions about it. I'm not super keen on talking intricacies about motherhood only because I feel like a lot of times those conversations can feel very prescriptive of, oh, because this worked for me, it could work for you, when it's not. I don't prescribe to any type of parenting. I don't identify myself as a gentle parent. I identify myself as a parent to my kid, and I am a mom who is also a writer, who is also an actor, who is also a storyteller and a content creator, and my kid is his things and I am my things, and together we live a life together. And that's what we do, and that's what works for us. I happen to be autistic, and sometimes that complicates things, but also sometimes it doesn't at all. Sometimes it makes things easier because I understand where he's coming from, when he's getting overstimulated, and I'm able to communicate to him in a way that he might understand a little bit better. But we fail, we apologize, and we move forward. On children's literature, which I talked extensively about in my last episode, right, of the children's literature being, I don't know, I think it's a really clear-cut form of storytelling. And because my kiddo and I are reading all the time to each other, which, caveat, if there's one thing that I could prescribe to as a parent that I'm like, this is foolproof, really lovely and quaint and the perfect way to connect, is reading to your kids. Read to them. You get something out of it. They get something out of it. It's dedicated time at the end of the day. And it has always been something, no matter how hard our day was, we end it with a story. We end it with a funny book. We end it with something cozy that both of us enjoy. And it is so amazing and so worth it. So for any of those who want some children literature recs, okay, this is an autumnal offering. This is a spooky little book that we got. It is a new release from the library, and it is called The Witch's Table, written by Melinda Beatty and illustrated by Stefano Tambellini. It is the sweetest book featuring a very nefarious witch's table that has been passed down from witch to witch in this long line of witches, and the table gets up to all sorts of deeds. And it is kooky and silly and sweet, but also features really lovely shows of kindness and navigates showing up for other people and noticing the needs of other people in a way that's so understated, cozy, kind, approachable, that I think it is an easy concept, at least for my 6-year-old, to grasp onto and to notice, while also not being overly prescriptive. So he's able to kind of develop and discover what the story means, rather than it being like, and this is what this means to you, child. It was so lovely. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. That was our favorite out of the 21 books that we read in the last 2 weeks. So that's a little children's literature segment. Okay. So I have a problem. Lately, I've been going to the gym, and right next to the gym is a thrift store. And I go to the gym 3 or 4 to 5 times a week. I stop into that thrift store at least once. My mug collection, my little whimsical mug collection of thrifted bits and bobs, it's growing. It's growing to an inordinate amount. I need someone to come live with me so that they can start drinking out of these mugs. I pass them and then I'm like, oh my God, that mug is the cutest mug I've ever seen. I have to take it home with me. I found one today that was made in the 90s, and it's like these stackable soup mugs, and they were made specifically for like a Houston food prep restaurant, and they were made to look a certain way to serve soup out of them. I'm obsessed with them, okay? I'm obsessed with them. I think they're the perfect addition to the Whimsy House, all right? Because we're at a standstill in the Whimsy House, all thing house renovation updates, right? We're at a standstill, meaning because I'm in the middle of editing this book, I'm not doing a lot of house things right now because all of my energy has been focused on, I need to get this book to my publisher. Okay? I need to do that. And so I've not been painting. I've sort of been in a waiting period to do more house projects. But that want to add more whimsy to the Whimsy House is ever growing, because the longer I live here, the more I walk through these halls, I'm like, oh my God, I could paint this something different every day if I wanted to. It's honestly a little bit much for me, because as somebody who has a brain that runs away from them and 3 million projects on the fire all of the time, walking through a house and being like, I could paint this trim blazing blue right now. I could paint this trim hot pink if I wanted to. And it's just the if I want to that's killing me. Okay? I still have a laundry room to paint. I have the upstairs hallway to paint. My bedroom is not done. The upstairs bathroom is not done. And the upstairs bathroom is so cute. It's this like redone little attic space. And right now it's like this mint blue, but I have plans. The issue is that it is, oh my God, my words. It is at such a slant that I'm going to have to hang like planters hooks up from the ceiling, because you can't hang a normal curtain rod up there. It's an A-frame ceiling. And I posted on TikTok, hey, can some of you interior designers try to help me? And I know that they did, but I cannot read verbally or written out directions. I can't even follow directions very well, because my brain is like, okay, what is point A to point B to point C? I need you to I need you to physically show me exactly what you mean. I am such a kinesthetic person. There is no world in which I'm going to be able to put the words of instructions that you just said and then synthesize it in a way that I can follow. What? I can't be doing that, because people were talking about hanging tracks up, and then they were like, okay, if you put a thumbtack at a 90-degree angle, oh, you put a number in there? Oh, so this is not an option for me anymore. I'm going to need you guys to write out your directions as if it's a fantasy novel with a followable narrative, and it's in sort of a treasure map scenario with pictures. Can you do that? Can you do that? Thank you. Building IKEA furniture. Oh, building any furniture. I genuinely, I think one of the reasons I thrift so much is the furniture is already built. It is already built. I loathe when I have to buy something new for whatever reason and I have to put it together because I'm going to put it together wrong. Because I have something called dyscalculia. Wow. I feel like this podcast episode, I am just, I'm autistic. I have celiac. I have dyscalculia. Like, girl, can you not list all of what's going on? Why are you so ailed? Why are you so ailed, queen? Anyhow, numbers in my brain, any type of like spatial reasoning, I genuinely can't do. I have such a deep hatred for puzzles, even though it is the world's coziest activity and it is so antithetical. I look like I would love puzzles. I look like one of those beachies that would have an entire, crazy puzzle table, the ones that are like a coffee table, then they have the drawers, the organizational drawers for the puzzle. No, I hate a puzzle because I am really bad at them. I'm so bad at them, and it makes me so mad because everyone assumes that I'm good at them. Everyone also assumes I'm really good at scrapbooking. They're like, oh, do you have scrapbooks? No, that's a lot of cutting really specific squares. One of the reasons why I do watercolor is because it is an imperfect medium. You can do realistic stuff with it, but rarely is that art form. If like people want to buy a watercolor, they're buying it because it looks like a watercolor, which is kind of murky, kind of blurry. And I'm really not good with precision in stuff. But somehow I'm also a perfectionist. Riddle me that. Riddle me that. Riddle me that. I'm a perfectionist who cannot do an angle. I cannot cut an edge. I cannot draw a straight line. Everything I do is vibes and vibes alone. This entire house, every little project I've done, everything I've hung up wrong, it's vibes. It's vibes. It is. But I think I started on that because I was talking about the whimsy house. So we're circling back to, you should thrift. You should thrift. I have projects on hold, but I am thrifting for them. I thrifted a candle drippy tray, okay? Because I've been seeing all of those all over the internet of these people just putting candles on top of candles and they're all dripping into one like giant massive situation. And I'm thinking, okay, that looks like it's going to be a Halloween decoration for me. I know it's midsummer right now, but that looks like my September 1st. It sure does. Oh my gosh, huge news. Everybody, hold on to your britches. Huge news. I went to Home Goods and I saw their Halloween section. I did. Okay. And if you're a bookish girl like me and you yearn for just tropes and walking in somewhere and thinking to yourself, this must be what Lorelai Gilmore feels like every day of her life, is pumpkins and leaves and love and orange and all of that, walk into your nearest Home Goods and take a stroll through their Halloween section. It's really cozy. It's really nice. It's going to make your entire day better. I promise you. And news that doesn't matter, I'm back with a bookish girl on her fitness journey. That's right. That's me. I'm a bookish girl on her fitness journey that started doing Pilates at 5 a.m. in the morning and walking 5 to 6 miles a day. Lost my ass and I'm trying to get it back. That's me. This week, I've had a really lovely time listening to A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping while I do squats, while I don't skip my donkey kicks in my Pilates video because they hurt and opt for something else instead. That's what I've been doing and it has been so cozy. You guys, I've been listening to the audiobook version of Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, the same person who wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I listened to both of those books on Audible and they are so cozy and lovely to listen to. The narrator is wonderful and excellent. And if you are a listener who has some type of issue or blockage against feeling like listening to an audiobook isn't reading, please get over that and do yourself a favor and listen to these books because it is so nice. And you can do other activities while you do it. You can be listening, for example, to my bookish girls. You can be listening to a story about a grumpy librarian who comes to an inn while you're on the Stairmaster. You're getting them gains and you're flipping those chapters, and the chapters are really all that matters to me. There's also something so special and quaint and sacred to me about listening to an audiobook. A summer storm is rolling in, and I am cooking up a little soup. I am putting a bunch of vegetables into a broth with some protein and some spices, and I am simmering away. And then I sit down with that soup, and my audiobook is playing, and I cradle the soup bowl to my chest. I let the warmth fill me up, and I spoon it in, and I'm feeling like Oliver Twist. I really am. I'm in my please sir may I have some more mode, because anytime I hold a soup bowl, I'm always like, I've been at sea for 47 years and this is the first warm bit of liquid that's gone down my gullet since the sun-drenched waters of the Caribbean sort of situation. I don't know, it puts me into a different headspace. And you're listening to an audiobook that's hitting every single one of your needs for audiobooks. It's a good narrator. They're British. The story is lovely. Those, my friends, those are sacred moments. Those are the things to romanticize. It isn't being the life of a writer. Okay, which is romantic, okay? I'm looking at you, Joe March. It is romantic, I will say that. But also at the end of today, where I can't feel my body, and I'm very aware of my myelin sheath in my brain, I'm thinking to myself, you know what's actually sacred? It's those little soup moments where you're listening to your audiobook and you're just, I don't know. It's the same vibe that walking into a Barnes & Noble's from 1998 gave me. Don't we all just want to go back to that time? On writing things, I am hosting a cozy fantasy writing retreat in autumn in New York. I will put the link in my show notes. It is happening through a place it used to be called Space on Writer Farms, which was a very popular place for Broadway people to go and like write their plays or relax or whatever. And we're going to have a private chef cooking for us all weekend. It's all inclusive. And it is so lovely and so quaint. I'm taking a train up there, and I think why I really like these writing retreats, because this is the second one I have been able to host. The first one was with a writing club that I started. This one is with this company, and I'm just so excited because writing can be a really solitary experience. Like, I'm coming to you all today not having talked to anybody, because when you're writing a story, you can't be chatting, you're writing. And it can be not necessarily lonely, but it is a lot of solitude, and it's a lot of bouncing your own thoughts off of yourself over and over, and that can get into a really unhelpful feedback loop. And something that I find so encouraging as a writer is just being around other writers. It's not even necessarily that they are going to drop a bit of wisdom that's going to change my life, which they will, and they usually do. But it is so comforting to be in a community of people that just know what's going on, that get it, that are trying. So no matter where you are in your writing process, and you don't have to be writing cozy fantasy, I'm titling it cozy fantasy because that is what I have written, and that by that time I will have been sharing more information about that. And so it's a little bit more themed in that direction. But anybody is encouraged and invited to come along and just join in a weekend. Again, ushering in autumn in New York. Oh, I'm going to freak out. It's also my birthday weekend. Hello, Virgo, September 20th. And if you have been looking for a community of people or something like this, and I'm offering it if you wish to join. If you don't, that's totally fine, but it's there, and I still have spots available. And so come get cozy, release your inner Joe March, and usher in autumn with all of us intrepid writers, no matter where you're at in your writing process, whether you're still in developmental stages, if you're thinking about, I would like to write a book, or maybe you're editing your final manuscript and have a deadline that you have to send in to your publisher around September, which I'm sure I will be somewhere in that arena with my second novel. So join the club. I am almost finished With Behooved by M. Stevenson. That is in the books I have read. I am currently reading. I'm in the middle of reading a lot of books right now. Some of them, the title is redacted because I think one of them is going to be an extremely negative review, and I don't really want to put that out into the world, so I'm just going to leave that title redacted and keep it to myself. Behooved by M. Stevenson is such an unexpected book. I am in the last 10% of it. I already recommend it. I sincerely doubt that it's going to fumble so badly the last few pages that I'm not going to recommend it anymore. I think it is so fun. It is such a classic little tale. It's such a classic little spicy book that features really fun tropes. Also, the name really belies what the book is going to be about, which is very nice. So if you're in for a fun time, I also think it's a great book to read in the summer. There are some books that are just summer books. There are some books that are fall books. There are some books that are winter books. Beach Read by Emily Henry, that's a winter book. That's you're staring down the barrel of the godforsaken months of January and February, and you need something that reminds you there are beaches out there, but also the main character's name in that book is January, so but also that book is a romance, but it features stuff with the occult, and I think it really matches the I need to have hope to get me through January and February, but I also need something that aligns with my deep dark situations that are going on inside, because seasonal depression is real. Now, what do you call it when you have seasonal depression every season? What do you call that? What do you call it when you have seasonal depression every season but fall? What do you call that? What do you say? An autumnal exception seasonal oppressive disorder? Is that what it's called? A seasonal affective disorder. That is what I'm reading this week. What I'm listening to this week has been a lot of lo-fi ASMR fire sounds, specifically the Shire, ambient noises, because when I'm writing, I can't be listening to music with words in it, and I also can't be listening to jazz or high stimulus music or music that I might cook to, because no, absolutely not. I need sound, but I need it to be chill sound. Now, there is a playlist that I want to set you onto for those of you who are obsessed with playlist. It is called Sautéing and Slow Dancing. It is on Spotify. For those of you who enjoy romanticizing your life, for the bookish girlies, kings, and noble theys who love every part of your life to be a little bit of a scene, put this on the next time you're in your kitchen. Making breakfast, doing whatever. Put it on, and you will not regret it. So anyways, that'll about do it for this very rambly Anyhow Anyway by Summer England. Thank you all for bearing with me as I spoke my thoughts aloud to you after I have edited and can feel my brain holes, squiggles, bits and bobs, etc., etc. Anyhow, the book that I mentioned today, The Witch's Table by Melinda Beatty, will be attached in the show notes along with Behooved and along with the link to my Cozy Fantasy Writing Retreat. If you're interested in coming along on that, I hope to see you there. If not, tune in next week. Like this, rate it. I think I'm supposed to say stuff. I'm supposed to be a good podcaster. Rate my channel. It helps. It does help, I think. So anyways, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening. Stay bookish, stay chaotic, stay cozy. Bye.